When our son got married to Amy, my friend raised.
You're live.
Okay, yes. Hi there, how you doing, Louise? Yeah, we'll have you sign it.
Hello, Lily.
Hello.
Very good.
Here on their behalf.
No,
Yeah, sounds good. I don't know. They're splitting the parcel into two. They're developing the north half, the south is undeveloped.
so that would be.
Yeah.
Should I just email them?
What,
Or see if we have a card?
and then, are you asking, now, I don't know, like, I think Ryder's still.
Okay.
So these guys are bringing the CSS to subdivide and purchase the north half on their behalf. So Ryder still owns that other half.
Okay.
So
probably reach out to Ryder.
exactly. For me.
Okay, I'll just do that.
That's good.
16 don't seem so old. That is first time. It was a birthday party. Wow. Oh. Don't seem so old.
I think he wanted interested in the other land south of Popeyes.
He's interested in
Maybe learning more about it or buying it or developing
and you
it.
told him that nobody from there was gonna be here?
I indicated to him that Ryder still owns the parcel and these guys are just purchasing the north half from Ryder.
Is that people from the church? Yeah.
We have people here for the daycare
Yeah.
and they're concerned. Yeah.
I'd like to call the meeting of the City Planning Commission to order. Would you ready to call the roll, Chad?
Sure. Mayor Vandersteen?
Here.
Alderperson Bourne? Jerry Jones?
Here.
Ryan Sazma?
Here.
Marilyn Montemeyer?
Here.
Dave Hoffman? Don Svitan? We have a quorum.
Very good. Next, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm sorry, sir, you're going to have to continue that conversation later. Sir.
Thank you.
Next, we'll have an introduction of committee members. Jim, would you like to start?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Alderman Jim Corn from the 10th District, and I'm the alderperson on the Plan Commission.
Dave Hoffman, citizen member.
Lenny Weirs, Building Inspection.
Mike Vandersteen, Mayor and Chairman.
Chad Pelishik, Planning Director.
Steve Sokolowski from the Planning Department.
Marilyn Montemayor, Citizen Representative.
Ryan Sazma, Department of Public Works.
Jerry Jones, Vice Chair and Citizen Member.
Very good. Next, I'd like to ask if anyone has a potential conflict of interest with any of the items on our agenda. Seeing none, then we'll proceed with the minutes. Ask for a motion to approve the Planning Commission minutes for March 9th of 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you for that motion and support. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Very good. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Then we'll move on to items for discussion and possible action. Item 3.1 is an application for conditional use with exceptions and a certified survey map by 645 South Taylor Drive, owner Equities LLC, to create a new noodles parcel at Taylor Heights Shopping Center located at 549 South Taylor Drive. Steve, do you have a report on this?
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Thomas Trzynski is here from Lampert Lee and Associates, and he is representing the owner on this matter. And what we're taking a look at today is when you look at the Taylor Heights Shopping Center, the Noodles and the Taylor Heights Shopping Center are all presently on one parcel. So if you take a look at the existing map, you can kind of see the blue outline, and that's the one parcel that's presently created there. The applicant is proposing to parcel off the Noodles parcel from the Taylor Heights Shopping Center, kind of similar to the China Buffet that's over there. China Buffet is on its own parcel. So what we're talking about today is the Plan Commission's looking at a certified survey map. Lot 1 is proposed to be 7.7 acres and would include a majority of the Taylor Heights Shopping Center parking facilities. Lot 2 is the proposed 0.59 acre parcel, and that will include the Noodles and Company. From a use perspective, nothing is changing. It's strictly just creating this new parcel. The applicant has included a note. Would I be able to get to the, just a slight, yeah. The applicant has included a note that just kind of identifies that new parcel and continues to reference the previous reciprocal easement agreement pertaining to shared parking, access, and utilities. So that was one of the things we wanted to make sure was a part of this, because creating that new lot line, the parcel doesn't necessarily have access to a street, but it will share that access that's presently there. So staff is recommending approval of the CSM that you have before you today. The applicant's here if there's any questions, and I can answer any questions.
Thank you for that report, Steve. Would you like to make any comments? Would you step up to the podium, please?
Yes, Time Equities had approached us about preparing the certified survey map for a possible sale of either the shopping center or the Noodles, just to maintain some flexibility in today's market. We had a couple issues with this proposed lot split. We could not maintain the pavement setbacks, so that's one of the variance requests we are asking, and then also the lot size the lot 2 does not meet the 1 acre requirement. So that would be the other variance we're requesting as part of the conditional use permit process, so that the CSM could be approved.
Thank you for those comments. Commissioners, any questions or motions?
Yes, do you then share maintenance of the parking lot, for instance, snow removal and, with Taylor Heights? That issue will be, right now, there is a joint use maintenance agreement between all the facilities in this complex. Depending on how the buyers between the shopping center and Noodles, or if it's just one buyer, determine they're gonna do that, it may be multiple people that are doing the snow removal, or it could be the same individual.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Then I accept the motion.
Move to approve subject to conditions.
Second?
Thank you for that motion and support. One last call for any discussion on this item. Seeing none, will the clerk call the roll?
Mayor Vandersteen,
Aye.
Alderperson Bourne,
Aye.
Ryan Sazma,
Aye.
Jerry Jones,
Aye.
Marilyn Montemeyer,
Aye.
David Huffman.
Aye.
All ayes.
Motion
Thank you very
passes.
much for your time.
Congratulations. Good luck with this project.
Thank you.
Moving on, item 3.2 is an application and conditional use with exceptions and certified survey map by Smithco Eateries Incorporated to create new lots and construct and operate a Popeyes drive-through restaurant at 3207 South Business Drive, the former Ryder Truck site. Steve?
Thanks, Mayor. Is there anyone online or in the audience here for this matter?
Yeah, Mark Rodriguez, the CEO for Smitco Eateries.
Hi, Mark. Smitco Eateries is proposing to construct a new Popeyes restaurant at 3207 South Business Drive. So this is the former Ryder Truck facility, which is located between the former Maple Lanes, I think that's gone now, and Southtown Mall. Popeyes, also known as Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen, is a fast food restaurant chain originally from Louisiana that mainly sells fried chicken. Some of the most popular chicken dishes include Popeye's chicken sandwich, wings, tenders, nuggets, and legs, but you can also find popcorn shrimp and a variety of sides like mashed potatoes with gravy, Cajun fries, Cajun rice, green beans, and biscuits on their menu. The anticipated number of employees for this is 12 to 15 per shift with 2 shifts daily. The restaurant itself will be approximately 2,600 square feet, provides about 32 parking spaces. The applicant will be creating, the Plan Commission as part of this is also looking at a certified survey map to create 2 lots. Lot 1 is 1.8 acres, and that is the one that will include the Popeyes restaurant. And Lot 2 is proposed to be 2 acres and will be available for development in the future. So that would be the south half of the property adjacent to the Southtown Mall. Construction of the restaurant is planned to commence as soon as possible. The redevelopment of the former Ryder truck property will upgrade the property and will increase the city's tax base. This is estimated to be a $1.2 million investment. The applicant believes that Popeyes will add another vibrant business and attractive building to this section of South Business Drive. Couple of staff comments. Applicant will be demolishing the existing Ryder truck facilities located on the north side of the property to construct the new drive-through restaurant. Access to the site is proposed to come from the existing South Business Drive driveway, and will also have a shared access agreement with the new lot to the south. Applicant does show a little bit of a conceptual signage that's likely to go on the building. No formal sign permit application has been submitted, but that will be forthcoming and will probably be similar to what you're seeing on the building right now. Staff just had a question in terms of the Plan Commission may want to talk to the applicant in terms of the Love That Chicken tagline, just to understand that signage on the south side of the building. Presently, the property is 1 parcel, and the applicant will be required to create the parcels as proposed, and they show that they own the new lot prior to receiving a building permit. If there would be any changes to the parcel sizes or site plan, they would have to come back to the Plan Commission for review. It appears that there are some contaminated soils on the east end of the property that are intended to remain covered and capped with concrete, and maybe the applicant could maybe address a little bit what what will take place on that east end of the property and the time frame maybe for those contaminants to be mitigated. There's a 6-foot chain link fence on the north side of the property running from east to west, and I'm not sure if this is on Popeye's parcel or the parcel to the north. And if it's on property, Popeye's is the fence to be removed. Just a little bit of cleanup of the property in and of itself. There's some miscellaneous pallets along the east property line that'll be cleaned up as part of this. And what will be the status of the property to the south? Will that remain hard surfaced with the old Ryder truck building, or does the applicant have any information on that? Plan Commission may want to have the applicant explain a little bit about Popeye's menu, how did Popeyes select Sheboygan, and explanation of the drive-through business compared to sit-down. And the proposed Popeyes restaurant is a nice redevelopment of this former Ryder truck property and appears to be a nice fit with many of the commercial restaurants and retail service establishments along South Business Drive. And creating that second parcel will also allow for future commercial development in the future. Applicant is requesting 2 variances. One is to have a paving setback of 0 feet, and that again is due to the fact that they're going to share access with that property to the south, and then requesting a variance from the locational landscaping requirements. So staff is recommending approval of the conditional use and exceptions with the conditions that you have before you, and I can answer any questions in the applicant's on the line.
Thank you for that report, Steve. Would the applicant from Smithco Eateries like to respond to the questions that Steve posed?
I guess maybe there was a lot of information, so I'm trying to navigate through it, one by one. But as far as the lot, we did work out an agreement to buy the entirety of the lot from Ryder. It was, a little over 3 acres, which is substantially more than we would need to develop Popeyes. And so I think the proposal was that we would utilize the northern portion of the property to develop the Popeyes restaurant, which would leave us significant amount of property to a south parcel that would host a similar structured business, whether it be another restaurant or something in that scope. So we would intend to sell off that portion to another developer or possibly develop it for someone else if they chose to. As far as your question about the contaminated soils, because of that, we didn't want to get too deep off into the process of having to dig out a bunch of ground. So our plan was to leave it capped and undisturbed. We don't have any tentative plans to develop that back portion of the lot as it stands right now. I'm sure that if we decided to try to do something with it in the future, we would revisit the city to see what we would need to do about that. But the depth of the lot was more than what we would need to host an adequate parking. So we had no intention of disturbing it at this time. I wrote down, I guess, about the fence across the north. We have no record of it, so it's not anything that we would want to keep unless the city wanted it there. So we would likely remove it if it was on our property. If it's on the northern property, we have no control of that, I guess. Status of the south lot, there is no predetermined status of the south lot. We would hope to, like I said, sell it off to another developer in the future. And I forget some of the other questions.
I think that's most of them.
You asked about why Sheboygan, I believe. I can touch on that. Smithco Eateries signed a development agreement with Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen to develop 15 restaurants in the corridor of Wisconsin that stretches from the Lake Michigan coastline all the way across to the Minnesota border, where you have Eau Claire Lacrosse. We started with our development efforts in the Green Bay Appleton area. We have a restaurant in Fond du Lac as well as Manitowoc as well. So Sheboygan is a natural fit for that market. The population densities are strong enough to support a restaurant. The community strong enough to support. I feel like there's enough demand in the market for it. So we were very interested in coming into Sheboygan. It was just a matter of finding the right piece of property that made sense. And so we feel like we found that in this location. But we do have plans to develop a total of 15 restaurants across that entire section of Wisconsin.
Thank you for responding to all those questions. Marilyn Montemayor?
Thank you. Oh, Mr. Rodriguez, my daughter-in-law called me early this morning. She read in the newspaper, Popeyes is coming. And she was so excited because she and our grandson drive to Manitowoc to eat Popeye. And you say you're going across Wisconsin, you're going to Eau Claire also? That is wonderful. Eau Claire will love to have Popeyes.
Yes, ma'am. We definitely plan to be in Eau Claire and La Crosse, as well as probably Wausau, Stevens Point, some places along the way. But the Fox River Valley area was really our priority to start with, just because of the opportunities that were kind of there to kind of build a good market from there and spread out from that point.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve, subject to staff recommendations.
A second?
Thank you for that motion and support. Under discussion?
Yes, Mark, just have a question. Do you know the nature of the contamination on the property? Are there gas tanks in there?
There were some underground tanks that Ryder had prior. I do know that we did get a letter from DNR that basically was no further action required. But of course, if the area were to be disturbed, there would be the potential of contamination to be reconciled. So no, I think the extent of it was some underground tanks, whether it be fuel tanks or something. I'm not really positive. Excel may have some additional information on that. But I know that where the DNR designated the area that was of concern was kind of in a location that wasn't necessarily inflicting on where we would need to develop the restaurant. So to avoid the risk of getting in, too deep, we just decided the best course of action initially was to avoid the area altogether.
Sounds good, thank you.
Alderperson Bourne.
Thank you, Mayor. Sir, I was wondering if the Love That Chicken that you have on the side of the building, is that a registered trademark or a logo? That's my first. Pardon me?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Yes, it is a registered trademark for Popeyes.
Thank you. And then what is the seating capacity inside going to be at this location?
Dining room capacity is 42 seats, I believe, with a maximum occupancy somewhere in like the 56-ish range. I'm not exactly positive, but actual dining seats is about 42.
Thank you.
Any other questions? See none. All those, we have to call the roll.
Mayor Vanderstein,
Aye.
Alderperson Bourne,
Aye.
Ryan Sazma, Jerry Jones,
Aye.
Marilyn Montemeyer,
Aye.
Dave Hoffman.
Aye.
All ayes.
Motion passes. Congratulations and welcome to Sheboygan.
Thank you, guys.
Item 3.3 is an application and conditional use with exceptions by Merida Moreno to operate a daycare facility located at 1720 North 8th Street. Steve.
Thanks, Mayor. Moretta Moreno is here, as well as her architect, Luis Barbosa. And then we do have a couple neighbors here, Keith and Dixie Hummich. And they live in the residence directly to the north of the project tonight. Marita Moreno is proposing to operate a new daycare facility at 1720 North 8th Street. This was recently purchased in January of 2021. The existing building is divided into two parcels. The building is attached with a 0 lot line, and the north half of the building is identified as 1720 North 8th Street, which is the one we're taking a look at today for the daycare. The north half of the property is vacant, was previously occupied by the Wisconsin Spine Center on the upper level and the Midwest Home Care on the lower level. The south half of the property is presently occupied by Samaritan's Hands, a faith-based drug and alcohol outpatient clinic. The proposed project calls for the occupancy of the north half of the building to operate a children's daycare on both levels. The proposed children's daycare in this building will operate from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. The site was selected because the building is in good condition and has plenty of off-street parking, plenty of space for outdoor children's play area. The daycare center will have approximately 7 child care assistants and the owner. 3 classrooms will be on the lower level and 4 classrooms will be on the upper level. The indoor activities will concentrate on the care of the children entrusted to the daycare with emphasis on bilingual language, cultural, social, emotional, and cognitive areas. There is adequate space for an outdoor playground area adjacent to the rear of the building, and the outdoor activities will concentrate on motor skills of the arms, legs, hands, and basic mental cognition, such as sensation, attention, perception, and reasoning. The applicant indicates the following with regards to some site improvements to take place on the site. A new handicap accessible ramp will provide access to the first floor level. A new dumpster enclosure will be included. A new 6-foot wood fence will be installed on the north and south sides of the property to provide privacy to the adjacent neighbors and safety for the daycare center. A new 6-foot chain link fence with safety bollards will be installed in the outdoor children's play area. The existing parking lot in the back of the building provides 18 parking spaces, and the property has an existing driveway to enter and exit the parking lot without infringing on the property rights of the privacy of the adjacent properties. 1720 North 8th Street had previously been used as a healthcare, and the applicant is now converting this space into daycare facility, so they'll be required to meet the building codes and the state of requirements to operate that daycare. The applicant understands that the adjoining building to the south is presently occupied by Samaritan's Hands and the faith-based and drug and alcohol outpatient clinic. Applicant is proposing to fence the south property line, which is presently open and permits cross-access and parking to each of the buildings. Once the fence would be installed, access and parking between the neighboring properties would no longer be possible, so it's up to the applicant to verify that there's no access or parking agreements between that before installing that fence. A 6-foot high chain link fence with privacy slats around the perimeter of the new outdoor playground located between the west end of the building and the parking lot. And the applicant does show 4-foot tall bollards and at 5 feet on center to protect the playground from the vehicles. The applicant is proposing a 6-foot high solid fence around the perimeter of the north and southwest property lines. Appears that much of the common line between 1728 North A Street and the neighboring residence at 1726 North Street, A Street is paved surface, and that's the Hummich's home. And we probably have some comments from them with regards to some concerns about fencing in that area. In addition, the driveway of the residence at 1720 Street is right on that property line. So before installing a fence, if one is to be installed, want to make sure it's on the property, and we want to make sure that it is not blocking any type of vision for the Hummich property as they pull in and out of their driveways. So we'll probably have a little discussion on that. Again, applicant's proposing a new handicap ramp, and they are requesting an exception to maintain the existing 0-foot paving setback to the north and south property lines. And staff was recommending approval of the conditional use, subject to the conditions you have before you. The applicants are here, and I can answer any questions as well.
Steve, thank you for that report. Would the applicant like to make any comments?
The only comment that I wanted to make is make them aware that we understand the concern of the neighbor regarding the fence. They have indicated that the fence provides limitations for the maneuvering. Our intention was to provide the fence basically to protect their privacy, but if it's infringing into the use of the driveway, we have no problem removing the portion of the fence to accommodate their needs.
Could I ask a question real quick? Would the Hummiches have any problems if they wanted to fence it, if they started, say for example, at the end of the garage or something to that effect?
If they went from the front of the garage going back, it'd be fine.
So if that might be something that if
that
you
will
wish
work,
to do
yes.
something like that, you could certainly consider that.
Of course, yes.
Go ahead, Luis, if there's anything you would like to add with regards to just the use and why she chose here and what needs she's trying to meet in terms of the daycare.
She presently has a daycare in Milwaukee, and she wants to relocate to Sheboygan for the civility, the security, the safety, and also to provide services to the underserved Hispanic growing population. And she's bringing special services, not just the care of the babies, but bilingual, bicultural, educational services for the Hispanic community and anybody else that would like to participate.
Okay, well, thank you for those comments. Commissioners, do you have any questions?
Mayor.
Hummiches, would you
Mayor.
like to make any statement? Please step to the podium then.
Hello, my name is Keith Hummich. I live at
Keith, could you
17.
pull the mic down a little bit? Thank you.
My name is Keith Hummich. I live at 1726 North 8th. The property is just north of the property you want to change. We have the shared driveway, which we have discussed now, for the fence. I have taken care of that driveway for 3 years for snow. I've cut the grass on that property for 3 years, free of charge, because the owner that owned it would never pay me. I got this notice on Saturday. I have very little knowledge of what was going on until what I'm hearing now. What I learned was from Samaritan Hands, and that was just kind of piecemeal. Here are a few of my concerns, okay? We talked about the hours of operation. How many children are they talking about? That hasn't been addressed. The location of the playground, it's going to be noisy. That's where I'm wondering about. Okay, now the address that they're gonna have their staff, that's kind of one of my questions. Okay, I've been in that house for 70 years. I grew up in that house. So I know that neighborhood. It's been a quiet neighborhood for 70 years. Now it's gonna get noisy. I'm wondering what it's gonna do to my property for resale value. Because you're gonna find a lot of people that ain't gonna wanna live there. So I'm just wondering about that. Okay, I understand where they wanna put the playground. Because of the noise and that, I actually thought it'd be a better place in the back. They got, because that playground's only 42 feet from our back door and our windows in the kitchen and in the dining room. So we will never be able to have them open in the summer months. There's 30 feet of grass back there and the blacktop asphalt is adjacent to that. A bigger concern that I believe the panel should be worrying about is the building itself. Wisconsin Spine moved out of there because of roof leaks, mold and mildew in the walls and ceilings. This is probably due to the fact that the roof was done by fly-by-nighters that came in, which we had to have the police remove from our backyard. They were camping out back there and using our backyard as a latrine and a toilet. I called Jack about it. The company that had going up there, they weren't even licensed, bonded, or insured. He pulled them off from down there. They did not speak English. But they already had half of the roof done. Now they went over the top of 2 other layers, right over the gravel, didn't tear anything off. They put new beaver board down, rubber roofing, and I do know what I'm talking about because I worked for Butson Construction, and I did rubber roofing. That roof is a sponge. If you walk on it, it's like walking on a waterbed. That is one of the reasons why Tim left there, because his patients from the mold and the mildew were getting sick and they were complaining. And that's still there. I mean, that's when Tim had to cover up his equipment all the time. The basement leaks, it's got standing water along with mold, and I have seen that myself. The overhangs are so full that the water actually runs out of the outside lights, out of the fixtures. There is no water that I see coming out of the downspouts, so I don't even know where the water goes. There's moss growing out of the overhangs on the fascia. I think before they even consider about putting any children inside there, this has all got to be corrected. I don't know how the city could allow to have the mold and the mildew with children in there. I consider it's a health and a safety factor. Also, I don't know if they're aware that Samaritan Hand also has pedophiles over there. Now, how is that going to affect their business? That's their livelihood. They have drug people coming there,
Mayor.
people coming out of jail.
Okay.
How is that going to affect their business also? That's about all I can say.
Thank you for those comments. Steve?
I think the one best thing that you just summed up is that there are a lot of issues there, and that you have someone who's interested in investing in the property, who's got an architect who's going to have to work with the city in terms of the building plans and everything necessary to get in there. So I think one of the things right off the bat, you speak of a number of concerns about how it's been handled and the structure itself. You finally have someone there who's willing to invest and do what's necessary to improve the property, thereby making your property value is probably better than what it has been previously. With regards to the fencing, they've indicated they want to work with you in terms of allowing the driveway. So you can see there's some relationship building that could be done to work together. They're investing in this property. They want to be there just like you guys. I'm sure they don't want to have any issues. They're cleaning the property, so I would just suggest that you continue to work with one another and that Luis, as architect, will take a look at these things, because without getting these things taken care of, you can't get an occupancy permit. So with regards to the playground, I guess I would let the Morenos speak to that. They indicate their hours are 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. But I can't imagine they want to put the playground in the back with the winter and having kids. I would imagine they want to have it as close as possible. So that part I can't give you a great answer on. But as far as everything else, I think they've come in, they've tried to work with the city in terms of getting the building together so that it is improved and that it is better in the neighborhood than what you have right now.
I'd like to speak also.
If you'd like
Come
to.
the-
Yep.
My name is Dixie Hummage. I live with my husband Keith on the property 1726 North 8th. What I wanted to find out is if this place next door with the Samaritan Hands have sexual predators and drug addicts. We have found needles in the parking lot and everything else that you can imagine. Is there not a law that you have to be so many feet apart for having children in that environment?
I don't know if the chief has any info.
I think you have to have like so many feet that they cannot be around pedophiles. So I don't think that's a really good thing for children to be over there.
I think that it's if they're staying overnight. I don't know if there's any input from the chief that he could help out, but I believe that that's for transition, actual staying overnight, and there's no one staying overnight at the Samaritan's Hands.
All right, I just wanted to...
Chief, could you respond to that question?
Sure, there isn't. The ordinance deals with residences where people live. Nobody lives at the clinic. It's a clinic. There's offices there that intake and things like that are done. And then there's one-on-one treatment, group treatment, and meetings that are held there. I personally am not aware of any sex offenders that currently receive services there. Occasionally, somebody who is a sex offender and is in recovery may be receiving services there, and that would all be coordinated either through their probation or parole officer or the state, if the state still has jurisdiction over them. And so that would all be worked out and approved if they're going to be going there to get services. And so I would stress very much so that Samaritan's Hand is a great asset to our community, and the people that are there are people in recovery, and it really increases the safety of our community, not makes it more dangerous.
Then why do we find needles in the parking lot? I mean, what's that safe? I found them myself already. A couple of people have found them. The neighbors on the other side have found them. And they picked them up and threw them in the dumpster, so I don't think that's safe.
Thank you for your comments. Marilyn Montemayor, did you have your light on?
I did, but could I speak after Jim Bourne speaks?
Okay, Jim?
I have a question for the architect, please. Sir, do you know if there was a pre-inspection of the building by your clients before the building was purchased?
They're aware that the building has several deficiencies. They understand that the roof needs attention. They understand there was some partial water penetration. At the present time, there's no smells of water penetration.
And what
They
about-
know that the building needs attention.
What
but
about
they-
mold?
Huh?
What about the mold?
I'm no expert in mold, but I did not see any mold there, no.
If that is the issue, will city staff see that that's remediated? I'm trying to say the word.
Remediated.
Right.
Remediated.
As part of the occupancy.
We're not mold experts either, but I would believe that this is going to need some state licensing for daycare, so the state is going to have to sign off on that before the city would even sign off.
Now,
This is the initial step that we're taking. We're here in front of the board to verify if we are going to be allowed to have the special use. The understanding is that after we go through that step, then we will explore the options with the building inspection department to obtain the necessary permits, the inspections, and occupancy and approval by the state. But we need to go through this step before we continue investing money.
Question, I guess this might be for staff, for staff. The other half of the building that's occupied, do they have the same roof issues and leak issues and mold issues as this half of the building? And if that's true, is that going to affect their use?
I'm not aware of that at this moment in time. Usually if there is something up, we would have some type of contact or hear from someone that there may be some issues. We haven't heard that at this point in time. I can't sit here and say I know 100%, but we certainly have not heard that to be the case.
Well, I would think that, I would think if there's going to be children in that building and there's any possibility of transfer of that mold and that type of thing over to this facility, that definitely should be checked out before they get an occupancy permit for their staff safety and the kids' safety.
Sure.
Thank you. Marilyn?
Thank you. I think the daycare center would be a great addition to the city of Sheboygan, and I love the location, and I love the idea that you're going to do it multicultural. That's important. I'd like to make a motion to approve, subject to staff recommendations.
Thank you for that motion. Is there a second?
Ryan, are you seconding?
I got some questions. I got a question, Mayor.
Would you like to second? Then we'll have discussion.
Yeah, I'll second.
Thank you very much. Now you can have the floor.
I just want to touch on this fence a little bit. I know you talked about privacy. Are you sure you want that fence pushed back to the edge of your garage? Because we want to make that as part of the motion. Or do you want to extend it all the way? Okay. You're sure?
Front of my garage.
Okay.
Down to the road.
Okay, from the front of your garage all the way to the west. Okay. 'Cause I know you had some concerns with safety or quietness and all that, but okay, I just want to make sure that you haven't changed your mind. Okay.
Actually, could I ask one more question on that?
Go ahead, Steve.
Do you know if, Mr. Hummich, if your garage is pretty close to the property line, and if the fence got put up, would that impact anything in terms of maintenance?
My garage is 4 feet off the property line.
Okay, so there would be room to maintain it if they put the fence adjacent to it? Okay,
I had that garage built 7 years ago.
okay.
7 or 8 years, something like that.
Sounds good. I just didn't want to make sure if it was a foot on there and they put the fence in now.
4 feet.
Okay.
Okay, any other discussion? Dave?
Yeah, I'm just curious, in regards to the noise issue that you raised, do you know about what percentage of the time that you'd have the kids out? Obviously, it's weather related, but what percentage of the day would you actually be using the playground?
The available playground allows for the use of 1/3 of the children. And not all of them are there at the same time. They come out for an hour, for 35 minutes. And the ages are infants up to 5 years old, and then maybe 12 years old. But in regards to the noise, you have children, and the playground is small enough, it's right in the back of the building, and the distance is roughly 40, 50 feet from the property.
Okay, thank you.
Alderperson Bourne?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm gonna vote to approve this because I do think it's a very good concept for the neighborhood, and there is a big need for daycare. However, I am gonna support it with the caveat that I hope that all of my concerns as far as the mold and that type of thing, both in the existing tenant and how that will reflect on the daycare center, that's taken care of before any occupancy permits are issued. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Any last discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk call the roll?
Mayor Vandersteen?
Aye.
Alderperson Bourne?
Aye.
Ryan Sadsma?
Aye.
Jerry Jones?
Aye.
Marilyn Montemeyer?
Aye.
Dave Hoffman? Aye. All ayes.
Motion passes. Good luck with your project. I hope we can make all the changes and it's comfortable for everyone. Thank you. The next item is item 3.4, which is an application for conditional use with exceptions by Tim Fettig to operate a Verlo mattress store from the multi-tenant facility located at 4315 South Taylor Drive. Steve?
All right, thanks, Mayor. Mr. Fettig's here, and he has operated Verlo Mattress Factory stores of Greater Sheboygan for 23 years, opening in 1998, starting at Taylor Heights, and then moving to their current location on South Business Drive in November of 2001. Verlo is proposing to operate from the 5,000 square tenant space for unloading of raw materials, warehousing, manufacturing, assembly of products for delivery to customers, retail sales, and wholesale sales at the, and this is located at the south end of the building previously used by Diamond Vogel Paint. Verlo manufactures and assembles the products that they sell on a daily basis. They're proposing a store where the mattresses are produced in the showroom space. Verlo will combine manufacturing and assembly of mattress with the showroom space, helping customers understand Verlo is factory direct. Verlo will receive raw materials, sort materials, move materials on carts to production tables located in the showroom area, and the completed mattresses will be moved to the warehouse for delivery to the customers. Verlo selected the site because it's ideally positioned to offer both manufacturing and sales in a showroom space. Verlo will receive the raw materials and mattresses will be assembled and manufactured for delivery to customers. Showroom will combine manufacturing and retail space. The wide open design of the space is perfect for a layout of a combined assembly and retail showroom, and the availability of a loading dock and drive-in access for unloading raw materials and loading finished goods for delivery to the customer. Mr. Fettig said he's tired of carrying product into his place and appreciates the fact of a loading dock. There would be 4 employees, and at this site, the applicant has provided some conceptual drawings on signage, but no formal signage has been presented, so we'll work together on that. And they've provided some conceptual drawings as to how the exterior could be renovated, and we'll continue working with the applicant on that. There are a couple of conditions. One of the interesting aspects of this was when you think of Verlo mattress, and Mr. Fettig, you can probably help explain this a little better than I, is that you think of the retail store on South Business Drive and going in the industrial park. How exactly does this work? There is a section in the ordinance that does allow for an accessory portion of retail sales, and the applicant is requesting a variance to have a little bit more. Usually it's 25% of that space, and approximately 35% of this is dedicated to warehouse, and approximately 65% is combined showroom and production assembly. So when I was initially speaking with Mr. Fettig, I didn't know how we were going to meet that, but I think maybe he could explain to everyone that how the showroom is used and how the assembly takes place, and how I believe now he is meeting the requirements and staff will be recommending approval. But I think, Mr. Fettig, maybe you could explain to the commission a little bit in terms of that process and what you did for me to better understand it.
Perfect. Thank you, Steve. First of all, thanks for even hearing me out on this. We're asking things that are a little bit outside of the norm. Verlo's been around for a long time, and we're a franchisee. My wife and I own the store in Manitowoc, where we have a factory and a showroom together in the same space. And in Sheboygan, we've always wished we could build or assemble mattresses here locally, and we just have never had the ability to do that. Well, with changes in technology and some kind of new focus of our franchisor, they really want to bring the production right into the consumer space, because consumers aren't used to the fact that we literally build them. I mean, we do the assemblies ourselves, and one of the cool parts of this concept is customers will be able to see mattresses in different stages of production right on in the showroom itself. There'll be, most of production will happen early in the day, then we'll have sales kind of midday and deliveries, and then the store will close at 6 o'clock, and it's closed in the evenings. But it's really kind of a unique, it's different. It doesn't really fit anywhere. Like, if we're in a commercial space where we are now, we can't manufacture there. And in the manufacturing place we can't really sell there. So this space was just kind of very unique in the fact that there are other sales happening, maybe not of mattresses, but of other things, HVAC, pump parts. There's different retail sales happening there. And we just thought that would be a great combination of where we're actually building it. People can see it and experience their product being assembled and manufactured and then delivering it right from here in Sheboygan. It just, and actually, interestingly enough, we do comfort adjustments. I don't know if you're all familiar, but because we build them, you can sleep on the mattress, and if it ends up being too firm or too soft, we can actually bring your mattress right back to the factory, and in some instances, do a comfort adjustment right in your home. But right now, we still have to use some machinery to do that. So we've been having to haul all the mattresses back up to Manitowoc and then back down here to Sheboygan. This gives us the ability to be able to do some of that right here. So it just saves mileage on the truck and really kind of uniquely gives us the ability to have customers come right to the showroom, and we can make the comfort adjustment where they try the bed with what we're adding or taking away right there in the showroom. So it's pretty unique way to do it.
Okay, thank you for those comments. Are there any other questions? Jim?
Mayor, thank you, Mayor. I would make a motion to approve subject to staff conditions.
Thank you for that motion and support. That motion's on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Marilyn?
Thank you, which has nothing to do with your business whatsoever at all. But your name, Mr. Fedek, which I haven't heard in many years. 60 years ago, when I lived in New York City and worked in New York City, I dated a Mr. Fedek.
If it was my dad, I'm sorry. We are all related, I just don't know where that is. It is interesting, that's very interesting.
Well, with that, I'll ask for a vote on the motion.
That's good.
Please call the
We
roll.
have a first and a second. Okay.
Yes.
Mayor Vandersteen,
Aye.
Alderperson Bourne,
Aye.
Ryan Sassma,
Aye.
Jerry Jones,
Aye.
Marilyn Montemeyer,
Aye.
Dave Hoffman. Aye. All ayes.
Motion passes. Congratulations and good
Thank
luck
you.
with your endeavor here.
Thank you guys so very much.
Yep,
It's awesome.
appreciate it.
Thank you, take care.
Okay, we're looking at April 13th for our next meeting. And then, Jerry, do you have a motion for us?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Thank you for that motion and support. All in favor of adjournment, please signify by saying aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We stand adjourned. Thank you for your time today.
Thanks, everybody. Yeah, no problem, man. Good job. Good job. You helped me out.